I love to obviously go and see something that makes me think and makes me, you know, see a different perspective. And I also just love to go and see shit get blown up. You know, I think Queen and Slim, because it was my first time just sort of ever having such a large role in something. And I think I learned a lot from Daniel, just in terms of, you know, how to show up on a set. You know, it's more than just, the biggest part obviously is doing the work and the work that you do before you get there, but just like who you are when you turn up and how you really, I mean, Daniel is such an incredible leader, and just watching him and how he was on that set, I think that just taught me a lot to go into my next experience, because, you know, that was my first time and I was really just such a deer in headlights, like, oh my God, you know, this is so overwhelming. And the way that he sort of handled that, I think it really set the tone for me in just learning how to exist in that space. I learned so much from Melina Matsoukas. I mean, like, what a badass. You know what I mean? Just seeing women like her, you know, her, Lena Waithe, just like, who are so clear in their vision and what they want. You know, I think I also really learned something I got to learn was how to advocate for myself. You know, I think that's something that's really important to learn as a woman, as a Black woman.
I support what y'all doing.
It was self-defense.
Power to the people.
Obviously, when we made Queen and Slim, we knew we were having a conversation about something that was very real and something that's been happening for a very long time. It's always good when the world kind of pays attention in a way that says, as a world, we're looking at this and we're at least saying with our mouths that we want to change it. It's good when we have those conversations. It's good that people were actually, you know, somewhat having a conversation about anti-racism, about anti-Blackness, about violence against Black people in this country. We make that art and we hope that it opens the door in a way that makes people, when they really do have the conversation, reflect differently. You know, we can only hope, and art is supposed to reflect the times, right? I think in that case, like, there was obviously some spirit that Lena and Melina were connected to, that Daniel and I were connected to, that we knew that that was the time to tell that story.
They better hope he doesn't survive.
Why's that?
He is more dangerous and effective than any man we have in the field.
I'm just excited for the world to get to, you know, enjoy this really fun and like kick-ass movie that we made. In what we do, we get to play make-believe and play pretend, but we also get to kind of imagine worlds that we would hope we can see. You know, imagine a reality that might not be there yet. And I thought it was really cool to get to play a woman who was a Navy SEAL, a woman who was so intelligent, who was so strong, who was so just driven that she had risen to the rank that she has risen to. And so, you know, I really loved that about this role. And I also really loved this idea of working with an actor like Michael B. Jordan. You know, I think that Michael is good at what he does, you know what I mean? And there's the reason why Creed is so successful. There's the reason why, you know, we all loved Killmonger, and I wanted to get a chance to play with that actor, you know? So it was, I thought it was going to be a really, really interesting and fun opportunity. You know, I think she's someone who, you know, the rules matter to her a lot, but she also has a really big heart. And that is something that drives her more so than following the rules. While she is someone who's had to pay attention to that and who's had to adhere to that, you know, in order to get to where she's gotten to, I think she also comes from soul and emotion and heart. And that's what, you know, ties her and Michael's character, John Kelly, together. And that's what kind of, you know, drives her to make the decisions that you see her making in the film. You know, but she's very much a thinker, and very much a person who, you know, when she sees someone seeming like they're doing something that isn't good for them and good for the greater good, she's going to be concerned, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, just like Queen in many ways, I mean, she's a ride or die type of chick. So, you know, she's down for the fight.
I'm gonna make it right.
There are women in the armed services, and they have been for a while, and they're badass and they're doing their thing. But, you know, my main curiosity, because I was playing a character who had a job that no woman occupies, I really wanted to speak with men who occupied that job, you know. So I met with a few men who worked in special forces, not just US special forces, but then in particular I did meet with a man who worked who does the exact job that Karen Greer does, because I really wanted to get a sense of like, what are these personalities like? You know what I mean? What is this person, you know, what are they, how do they interact with other people? You know, I think there's often, we have these ideas, there's kind of we have this sort of machismo idea of like what men who do these jobs are like. And then when someone decides, okay, I'm gonna make this a female character, they sort of then are trying to impose these sort of machismo, and it's like, that's not really how it works. When you meet a lot of these guys, one thing that really struck me about them was how emotional they all were. Super emotional, super sensitive, like very much like, you know, they're the guys, the team that they go out there with are their family. The loyalty that they have to them. And so that was really important to me, to really look at the emotional center of these people, because a lot of times we think like, oh, when someone has killed someone, they have like a dead look in their eyes. And it's like, I'm here to tell you that guys that have killed people will cry at the drop of a hat. And so I found it really interesting to sort of translate that to a female character, because I think it's something that, I think at the end of the day, when you're navigating that space, there has to be something that's balanced about you emotionally, because you're doing so much shit that is hard to swallow and to live with. It's definitely a lot more complex once you're pregnant, because everything that I do, as much as I want to jump in and do this and that, and like, you know, I'm that person who is like, oh, we're you know, we're throwing ourselves into something, I'm throwing myself, and it's like, I couldn't do those things because I had a life inside me that it was like, and especially at the point in my pregnancy that I started filming, it was like, yeah, letting your body get shaken vigorously is not really healthy for your baby. But I mean, I do love it. It's fun when you get to do stuff. You know, I got to do a really fun little fight that you see in there, and that was lots of fun, you know. And I just tried to definitely be mindful of, you know, because I think it's also my nature to want to push myself harder than I should. And so I just had to be mindful, and you know, luckily I had this other thing going on that really forced me to be mindful. And I've got a wonderful stunt double in this film. And you know, that's where you make the movie magic and you make it look cool, but it is, you know, stunts are fun. I mean, I jumped at that opportunity. I thought it was a really cool opportunity. I think that just in the context of, you know, this is a story that has been told so many times. And I think it's cool to get this sort of different perspective on it, to treat it like a work of fiction. Because, you know, as much as, you know, people have a lot to say about it, nobody really wants to admit how much, at the end of the day, the story of Anne Boleyn has always been treated as a work of fiction. You know, it's a highly fictionalized retelling of her life, each and every iteration of it, whether that actress was a white woman or not. And so I was excited to, and I was also, you know, after I did Without Remorse, I was like, my next movie, I want to be in gowns talking. And honestly, it's like I manifested that. I thought it was really cool that they came to me to do that, and it was really eye-opening and incredible and transformative to play that role, especially it being the first thing that I did after having my baby, and how the lens through which I saw her just transformed because I was a mother. You know, because I am now a mother, I just saw her so differently. And when I read those scripts, I read them with a different eye than I think I would have if I was the person that I was, you know, 1 year ago. Not even 1 year ago, more than that, because 1 year ago I was pregnant. Wow. It's like, wow. But yeah, you know, it was a really, really, really cool project. And it was one of those things where it's like, it was every actor that I worked with on that. It was really great to work with all of those other British actors, and everybody just, and everyone, even the sense and the sentiment that the crew had, like, it just felt like everybody was really excited to make it, and everybody was really happy to be there. You know, there was none of that jaded energy that you can sometimes get on film sets. And I think also because we're in this unique time, right? We're all glad and grateful just to be working. And I think everybody really, like it felt every day going to work like I was going to work with a group of people who really believed in me and really believed in what we were doing, and that just was really empowering. And so, you know, I'm excited to share that with the world as well. I'm excited for people to see, you know, my take on Anne Boleyn as a woman and not just as, you know, a white queen. I am still, I feel like, discovering so much about myself and about the craft, and I want to do everything that seems interesting to me. And I don't think I even necessarily was like consciously thinking, okay, I'm going to do this kind of project, then I'm going to do this kind of project, then I'm going to do this kind of project. But I know that I have sort of said to myself, you know, I want to create opportunity for myself across these different, you know, categories, and I'm open to whatever comes or whatever happens. And so when something comes across my lap that I'm like, whoa, I would love to be a part of this. This seems cool. You know, I'm really attracted to stories. I'm really attracted to, you know, characters that seem like fully thought out, fully fleshed out women that I would love to see on screen, women that I would love my daughter to see on screen now. And that's kind of how I lean into choose. And also I think about like actors that I want to work with, creatives that I want to work with, you know, and that's really what drives it, what leads it.